So I'm gonna have to explain something. On my video, why capitalism doesn't help the third world, some stateless capitalists had this saying, well, nobody forces them to work there. You gotta be kidding me. Nobody forces them to work there? Nothing? You think poverty doesn't force people to do things in order to survive? You think 12-year-old girls like being chained to desks? That's what she wanted, right? Because she chose to work there. Do you think her parents want her to work there? You think that's what they envision for their kid instead of going to school is working in a fucking mind-numbing underpaid factory job for the rest of her life? In 99% of all these cases, both parents work. The mother and the father have a full-time job. And even two full-time jobs doesn't pay enough for them to live. They frequently live in corrugated iron shacks. If two full-time incomes isn't enough to really pay for a corrugated iron shack and food, then I guess a third person's gonna have to bring in income. But no, the threat of starvation, that's not a form of coercion. And don't give me the stateless capitalist bullshit now. If you just get rid of the minimum wage, then magically everything will be fixed and people will start making more money. In a bit of, proof, practical experience, something that stateless capitalists are familiar with, most of these regions in China, coastal China, the area that I was referring to, most of those places don't have a minimum wage. And if it does, it's so exceedingly low that you couldn't possibly live off of it. So don't tell me, oh yeah, if you just get rid of the minimum wage, that'll fix everything. Because there practically is no minimum wage already and it's not working. When you live in desperate poverty, you're kind of forced to submit to employment in order to be able to survive. It's kind of necessary. It's how the other 80% of the world lives. All of you submit to employment. I know you like to pretend you're capitalists, but you're not. You're regular workers too, pretending that you're one of the capitalists. Well, the libertarian claim is that, well, you don't have to work there. You can just go work for yourself. That's right. Everybody can just quit their job tomorrow and start their own business. You're right. People with no credit, no savings, and don't even actually really have a place to live can just get a business loan and start their own business at any time because anybody can succeed in capitalism if they work hard. Incentive and ambition is what makes capitalism so great. This is a very, very typical conservative and libertarian response. If you don't like your job, just quit and get another one. If you're underpaid or you're not treated as well as you should, then you should just quit your job and go somewhere else, and that'll show that capitalist, and maybe he'll think twice about treating some way the next time. Sometimes I wonder if conservatives or stateless capitalists have ever worked in their life. I know they have, it's just that they seem to kind of act like they haven't. Yes, you can just quit your job anytime you want. Just ignore the recession, ignore massive unemployment, and ignore the fact that enough jobs for people has never actually existed anywhere in any ideology. And in fact, the country with the lowest unemployment rate is, I believe it's Cuba, with 1.5% unemployment. And try not to count those little Caribbean islands like the Cayman Islands where practically no one lives because they're not really countries. They're tax havens and they don't have any industry. According to these same conservatives, these same libertarians, well, if you can't find a job, it's because you just must want to be poor. Right. The majority of the world living in poverty just doesn't want to work. They enjoy being there because they submit to employment because nothing's forcing them to, and they get underpaid. That means they want to be underpaid and they should push to be paid better. Never mind the labor abuse that gets them fired for other reasons. Or, in many countries like capitalist China, you can end up getting shot for it. So I guess in the libertarian conception of the market of ideas and the market of reality, because the market does absolutely everything. People are poor because they want to be. And because the majority of the world's population doesn't make enough money and is mostly poor, therefore, the people have spoken. They want poverty because everybody's doing it, because they totally have a choice. Poverty is what people want. The market has spoken. Poverty reigns supreme. You seemingly have no basis in reality. Take the unemployment rate. Now take the people that are unemployed that don't count, like people not on unemployment insurance. They also don't get counted in that number of people unemployed. Take the number of people underemployed, and you've got a figure much higher than the actual number. You see, capitalist governments lie in order to make themselves look better. The unemployment rate is actually more like 28%. It's actually really, really high. I know you like to, for all your disbelief of the government and it's bad, you certainly seem to believe their figures on unemployment and employment in general an awful lot. Besides, it's every little girl's dream to grow up and be chained to a desk to make sneakers. Well, maybe in libertarian land people choose that. But here in the real world, it doesn't happen. People don't want to be slaves.